role of a product manager evolve in today's digital and AI driven landscape?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So, at the core fundamental, I think so, product management hasn't changed.
I am Bhavna, and today we are diving into a topic that's defining some of the most innovative careers today: product management. To guide us through this exciting space, we have with us Mr. Sumit Mukherjee, an experienced product management professional and our course mentor at Techcanvass with vast experience. Sumit has helped many professionals transition into an impactful product roles across the domain. Let's welcome to Sumit. So, welcome, Sumit. It's wonderful to have you with us today. It would be great if you could share a bit about your journey, your background, and what inspired you to move into product management.
Thanks, Bhavna, for the opportunity. So, my name is Sumit Mukherjee. I started as a business analyst actually back in 2012, and I worked around 5 years as a business analyst. I got the opportunity to work with various teams on site and offshore, working closely with users as well as developers. And then I moved to product management in 2017. And I've had the privilege to work with different kinds of products of different sizes, being able to understand user needs, user pain points, and to deliver solutions that meet their customer needs.
So that's wonderful. It's always inspiring to hear real stories behind successful careers. So now let's start understanding the basics for those especially who are new to this field. So how would you define product management in simple terms?
Right. So product management or product managers basically lie at the intersection of business, UI, and tech. What that means is, as product managers, you get to address business and customer pain points and to build and deliver value. So, simply put, in a very short sentence, basically, product management is meeting business goals by delivering customer value or user value. So, when I say customer or user value, it's basically trying and understanding what are the problems that these users face, right? And when you talk about business goals or business outcomes, it is understanding what are the objectives, the OKRs, and what are the goals that the business is trying to achieve. So, as a product manager, you are basically addressed, or you're the ask is to balance art and science to sort of build new solutions, build new products, new features that can address your customer pain points, as well as at the same time making sure that your business goals are met.
All right. So, what attracted you personally to become a product manager?
Yeah, so like I said, fortunately, in my 12 plus years of work experience, I've always been able to work both at customer side as well as the development side. And also I have the privilege to work with various different teams like marketing, QA, customer success. So it basically the power or the freedom to be at this intersection of different teams and basically building solutions that deliver value. And when you get the joy of actually seeing a customer getting value from your product, and the appreciation that it gives them, that's a really powerful sort of drug that it gives you, right? So, and as a product manager, it's also really empowering, in the sense that you also get to drive the strategic vision of your product. So in terms of how should the product address different goals, what are the features that you need to build. So this is a very empowering and sort of a very satisfying role. And when I moved into product management, I saw that this role allowed me to play this role, being close to so many different kinds of stakeholders. And that's the primary role, that reason why I'm in product management.
Okay, so how is product management is different than project management or business analysis?
Right. So product management is concerned more with the why and the what of the problem. So basically, when I say that is what problem are we solving of the user, that is one part of product management, and also the why. Like, why are we solving this? How will it help make the world a better place? How will it help our customers? How will it help a business? So product management is sort of this continuous iterative approach to addressing the what and why of a product. And project management is more time boxed. It's more about the when and the how. So basically, when are we building, how to deliver things on the right time in the right resources. So it's more project to project. And business analysis also is in time bound because it's more associated to project. The thing with business analysis is that it's more internal. So you are basically a bridge between IT teams and internal business users. So you're trying to understand what your business users need and what issues they are facing, try to document them into detailed requirements document, and then working with your IT and the delivery teams to get those resolved. So it's more detail oriented. There is creativity and there are lots of solutioning, but product management is more of external looking at your customers, understanding our market in which your product operates. So it's a holistic way of approaching product management.
Yeah, that's great to know that. So, what are the key skills every aspiring product manager should focus on building?
That's a great question. I would say the most important is empathy, user empathy. So that means understanding the core user problems that are being faced, understanding their psychology behind, why are they facing those problems, and also strategic sort of thinking. So being able to think strategically and creatively of different solution and ways in which you can meet your customer needs is very important. And since building solution involves interacting with various stakeholders, both internal and external, as a product manager, you also need to have really good communication as well as collaboration and organizing skills. That means that you need to organize teams, both the teams that you are in charge of, as well as external teams like marketing, sales, align them together towards a common product vision, making sure that everyone is aligned and delivering on that particular vision, right? So that involves a lot of sort of influencing, but you're not actually involved or actually responsible or managing them, but being able to influence without authority and being able to manage and communicate the different the needs of the customer, being the customer advocate with your teams is something is really important. So these three things, just to summarize, one I would say is the most important is user empathy, then the strategic vision or the creative thinking, and the third is the communication and collaboration, as well as organization skills.
It gives a great foundation. So now let's just talk about how this role is evolving in today's world. So my next question would be, how have you seen the role of a product manager evolve in today's digital and AI driven landscape?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So at the core fundamental, I think so product management hasn't changed. It's still about delivering user value. But what I would say is the optics has changed a little. So previously, teams or stakeholders would think of product managers more as strategic thinkers who just maybe are managing a backlog, driving the prioritization of it. But right now, with the advent of AI and new different technologies, I would say product manager are more of strategic doers. So it's not only about being able to think strategically, but also trying to quickly iterate and use different tool sets like AI to build prototypes, to test solutions, test ideas, and being able to quickly roll out something into market quickly, which actually works for the user. So it's more from a thinker role to a doer role. That's one of the core things that I have seen that has changed. And also in terms of like in the overall ecosystem of how products are built, I think so PLG or product led growth is something that is a good thing that is being taken up or being adopted by various organizations. So what is PLG is basically not thinking of just delivering features and ensuring customers are paying on time and you can sell the features. It's about how do you strategically think about customer problems first, and then aligning all the teams, right, from development to QA to marketing, sales, everything around delivering that customer need or solving that problem. So that is a really good way, and product managers are really central to that because they are the advocates of such customers, making sure that products are built through this PLG initiative. So these are the two main core things that I've seen. Another thing that has changed post COVID is sort of remote work. So more and more teams are adopting remote methodology or remote way of delivery. So what this has meant for product managers is that the way communication happens, the way documentation happens has totally changed. So asynchronous communication and collaboration is totally different versus what used to happen, when you are in office, right? So product managers need to master these skills as well, being able to work remotely because it involves a different set of skills. Because delivering products can be harder if the right framework and processes are not there in a remote first organization.
If you can just share an example or a story where product management made a impact on a product success.
No, I mean there are products everywhere that we use in our daily lives, right? And we see them making changes to not only our lives but lives around. One really popular example is Google Maps. So this is something I think so the entire world relies on. So that it's a good example of a B2C, customer app. And the thing that I see is good product management skills or good product management fundamentals in trying to solve the core problem, right? Of basically helping users to understand, let's say, navigating from point A to point B, understanding the different attractions in an area, understanding, whether there are certain obstacles when traveling, and also trying to, maybe probably plan for a trip, plan for vacation. So these are the core things that you do when you're traveling, and Google Maps really does a good job of it. And it's like I said, it's accurate to a meter, so which is why the entire world has adopted it. And Google Maps has developer tools. So not only from a B2C perspective, from B2B perspective, many organizations like Uber, Zomato, Swiggy, Ola, these depend on Google Maps to deliver their services. Another example is Spotify is another tool which or a software which I use very frequently. And again, the core jobs to be done is basically, delivering good, fresh music and at reasonable cost is something that Spotify really does compared to its core, sort of core competitors. From a B2B example, I would say Slack is a really good example. So, there are tens of communication tools and chat tools out there, but what Slack really does well, and this comes back to good product management fundamentals, is that it understands that centralizing communication in one place, being able to have channels, being able to collaborate, its integration with various tools, so that it becomes a hub of communication versus just another chat tool. That is born out of good product management thinking, good fundamentals, and your first principles thinking. So that these are 3 4 examples that I can think of are really good products that have come from good product management practices.
That's actually a very good example, which everybody I think nowadays can relate to it. So my next question would be, what are some misconceptions or myths people have about product management?
Yeah, I think so. The most popular one is that the PM is CEO of a product. So while it does a job in sort of conveying that, okay, a PM is very much responsible or has lots of responsibility in terms of making sure that the product works, it's actually not true in its entirety, because CEO has management involved. They have actual authority over people's careers and their incentives and their career paths. A PM doesn't have. You're not actually managing people as such. You're just working collaboratively with them. So that's an important thing that people coming into product management needs to keep in mind, that it's not that you'll be given a team and you can just tell them what to do. You need to convince them through data, through a communication, through showing examples of users, so that they are also on board when building solutions. And another thing I would say is that many places I see, or even interviews or places I see, that product management professionals need to have good technical skills. They need to do coding and all those kinds of things. To that, I would say is that it's not entirely true. It depends from organization to organization. But what is important is that for product managers, coding skills or even understanding of technology is a good way to communicate with your developers and good way to understand the challenges that they are facing. So it's good to have the knowledge, but you don't need to actually go and open a IDE and do coding, right? So that's another misconception I would say. And yeah, these are the two main things. Another smaller one I would say is that a product management professional is sort of responsible for the entire success of the product. So while that might be true from your sort of performance review, but as a product management, you need to make sure that in order to ensure success, you should not work in silos. You should work collaboratively with different teams, all that are responsible in building a product, including marketing, sales, and making sure that the product is launched and used properly.
Interesting, Sumit. So I'm sure now many of our viewers are now thinking about how they can step into the product management role. My
Hmm.
next question will be related to the career path. So for
Yeah.
someone who is coming from a background like business analysis or project management or a software, what is the best way to transition them into product management role?
So there are two parts to this. I would say that don't wait for like the perfect product management or product owner role. As long as you are thinking about customer problems, as long as you are sort of thinking about the why, you are on the path of being a good product professional, right? So even if you are coming from things like marketing or customer success or project management, that is a good starting point, because some of the best product managers that I worked with initially have come from sales or customer success, because they have worked closely with users. They talk to business users or the product users daily, so they sort of have very good insights. So as long as you have that mindset of digging deeper to understand what is the core need that is basically of the users, that is a good mindset. So that is a good thing. Like even in existing roles, just keep on asking like why are we building this, how can this help our users, and to even if you're not related to software, even think about the products that you use on a day-to-day basis, right? And think how they help you meet your needs, how they help make your life more easier, and think how they do that, how are they better compared to other alternatives, and you will basically see trends in how good products build versus how poorly products are made. So that will be a good understanding, and you can apply that in your day-to-day work as well. So don't look for the perfect role, but you can still parallelly sort of improve or start working on your skills by thinking of these things.
Okay. So, what are the biggest challenges that a new or a aspiring product manager faces, and how can they overcome with that?
So for new product managers or product owners, what happens is, and it happens in most of these roles, is sort of an imposter syndrome. So this is like, you're coming into a new organization and you're overwhelmed with, the different things that the teams are working on. There's so many products, there's so many people to talk to, so many teams. You don't know what the product does, you don't know how the solutions work, you don't know the technologies behind it. So it can be overwhelming to start out as a product manager because you don't have any context, and product managers thrive on context. So but what the advantage of this is that you get a window of asking questions, asking stupid questions. So use that opportunity to get to understand different kinds of things about the product. Who are we building it for, why are we building it? And at least you can use this window to get all of the fundamentals and get a good understanding of the product, right? So that's one of the things I would say is a challenge, but you can still overcome it. Another one I would say is with changing technologies like AI and trends and all. Product managers also need to be sort of on the train and not be left too far behind, because the way products are being built is constantly changing, and the time to value, basically how fast products are built or prototypes are built, is also changing, right? So product managers need to also be able to leverage these new technologies and to understand them, the newest sort of frameworks that are in place, the newest sort of terminologies and the newest ways of working with different teams. I think so product management is something, product managers can get left behind if they're not up to date with what is happening in the industry and what is happening in the market. So keeping up to pace with what is happening in the market, seeing what other teams are doing, like what your competition is doing, like, is something which is another challenge also for product managers.
That's great, Sumita. I'm sure for newcomers, this particular answer will definitely help them. Okay. So now, what does a typical career path looks like for a product manager from an entry level to the leadership level?
Right. So product managers typically, like we said, right? Like I gave an example, you don't necessarily need to start with the title of a product manager or a product owner. You can even start with adjacent roles like marketing, sales, business analysis. Like I personally got from business analyst, project management. You can start from adjacent roles, because product management is diffused across all of these roles. So as long as you are thinking about customers and all, you have a a solid fundamental when you're joining product management. Typically, starting roles are, you have a junior PM or a junior PO or associate PM POs, and then you get to manage one team, multiple teams, one product, multiple products. And there are two primary paths you can take. You can go into the management side. So as a product manager, you can become a VP of vice president of product management, or a director of product management, or a group PM. So these are more management heavy roles where you are managing other product managers, their career paths, training them, ensuring that they are applying the right principles and learning the right tools to in their job. Another track to take is a more individual collaborative role. So these are for professionals who don't want to go into managing people. They want to go deeper into building better products, understanding your users better, understanding the challenges better. So those are more like principal PMs, senior principal PMs. These are like roles where you are basically more deep into understanding the challenges that is facing your business, understanding the customers better, understanding the marketing better, markets better, possibly even managing the P&Ls of your product, your profit and loss share, all those different lines. So this is more of an individual track. So these are two tracks you can take. You can be a management type of product manager, or you can be more into individual contributor role.
That's really helpful guidance. So let's look at what lies ahead for this field. So, what trends do you think will shape the future of a product management in the next few years?
Yeah, so we talked about some trends, there are like PLG, like product led growth is one of the important trends that is shaping how products are built. We obviously have AI at our doorstep. So I would say that from both at a personal productive level, as a product manager, being able to use LLM tools, right from writing requirements documents, writing user stories, to presentations, to organizing your notes, and also incorporating them into your products themselves, like as chatbots, as AI agents, whatever. That's something which is a trend which is happening. And as a product manager, you also need to sort of be on those trends. There is also more sort of trends in terms of to understand how products need to monetize, like for Zomato is a good example, right? Zomato has been profitable only in the last few couple of years or so. Until then, it didn't have any sort of profitable, sort of a year, financial year. So being able to understand how to monetize different monetizing strategies, there are different ways monetization works for a B2B product versus a B2C product. So there are these trends also changing. And again, with AI, with subscriptions, there are different ways in which you can actually get value for the business. So these are the different things which I would say product management needs to know.
So, how do you see AI, data analytics, and customer centric design changing the way product managers work?
Yeah, so at two levels, like I said, at a personal, at a productivity level, how you leverage these tools to perform your duties better. So your core fundamentals doesn't change. You're still trying to build products that deliver value, but the way you do it is that you are now empowered with an additional or more powerful tool set to do it, right? Like, previously you probably had to wait for a developer or UX designer to come up with a mock, with a high fidelity mock, and then give it to your developers. Then go through another iteration cycle to make sure that all issues are resolved, and then go to development, right? But now with AI tools, you can basically through prompt engineering deliver a very low fidelity or even high fidelity mocks. Work with your designers to sort of further refine them, and parallel even start developing the page for it, right? Like, today you can start developing login pages, or pricing pages, or FAQ pages directly from different AI agent tools, even like ChatGPT, and you can hand it over to developers who can then further refine them, right? And it not only serves for development, it also has a communication tool to different teams within your organizations. For example, for marketing, you want to give them an idea of how the new FAQ page will look like, or how will your new feature product page look like. So those kinds of ideas, instead of waiting for a designer to come back to you, you can actually fast track that communication, that collaboration with different stakeholders using these AI tools. And data analytics tools is also similar. So previously, the insights that you used to get, you either had to rely on a lot of data, or you had to rely on really good data analysts and their bandwidth availability to get and generate insights, right? But now as a product manager, you just need to feed the data into these different kinds of tools, obviously with some oversight, because not all LLM tools and AI agents are accurate. But with these tools, you at least can get some additional insights which you might not have gotten with purely just interviewing customers or talking to them. So large amounts of data, as a product manager also you need to able to work with such kinds of data and generate insights.
Okay, so how important is continuous learning and upskilling for professionals in this field?
Oh, it's really important for product managers, I would say, because the markets are changing, user habits change constantly, industry forces are changing. So, as a product manager, you need to ensure that your products are being built for the right users at the right time. You are not building features, or you're not missing out on features, to be more important, that your competition already has, right? So, to making sure that what are the different changes in the market is really important. To give an example, in my professional life, when I started in 2012, right then and there, we were moving from waterfall methodology to more an agile mindset, right? So basically, right from your tooling to way meetings happened and how solutions used to get delivered, that changed. Then we had new technologies like ML, NLP, and different kinds of touch points also, right? When mobile became really important, and you had lots of new solutions, apps, services that were being available on mobile, like Zomato, Amazon. So different kinds of solutions, like how do you ensure customer focus, how do you ensure last mile delivery. So different kinds of technologies happened. Then we had COVID, early 2020s, 2021. So that disrupted different kinds of technologies. The way that products got built within teams got, that also changed, because now teams moved away from the office. They started delivering remotely. So as product managers, you need to know how to master asynchronous communication, collaborating with stakeholders without seeing their faces, onboarding new teams, and onboarding yourself into new organizations without actually seeing their faces. So that's another shift that, as a product manager, I had to sort of master. And now obviously we have AI and everything, so the way you prototype, talk to the users, get insights, and how you build solutions, prototype, that's entirely changing. So as a product manager, if you're not up to date on such different shifts and trends, you'll basically miss out and you'll become outdated very quickly. I give an analogy that it's similar to a doctor, like in the medicine field. Like a doctor needs to know of the latest medicines and the latest diseases, not just their MBBS degree or their MD degree. They need to know of the latest therapies in place also, right? So, similarly, a product manager also needs to know, what are the latest trends in technologies, in products, in the markets, etc.
A very good example, Sumit, you have given. So that brings us to an important point: learning and mentorship. So many professionals today wants to step into product management, but unsure where to start. So how a structured learning framework and a mentorship help them to build the right skills and confidence?
So product management is a very ambiguous field because it involves so many responsibilities and interfacing with so many different kinds of stakeholders, right? So there's no right or a single book where you can get all of your knowledge from, right? So one way to go about is, obviously, you read different blogs, follow different creators, see different kinds of YouTubers, talk to different people. But that's a very slow way of learning, because you need to get all the different information from different sources, form your own opinion, those kinds of things. With structured learning, similar to the course that we have here, is that all of the product management skills that you need, and all of the things that you need to become a successful product manager, right from developing a good strategy and vision, ensuring that you have a good robust roadmap, delivering on solutions, launch, all these different things, right? Talking to customers, building good personas, all of these things is there in this particular course, and it gives you good frameworks, cheat sheets, guides, as well as takeaway material that you can use in your own day-to-day role. And you don't need to sort of go into different courses and different books. You can get all of that over here. So it's sort of gives you a more accelerated way to ramp up your skill set in terms of product management, so that you're not diving into theory only, you're also diving into more application as well, right? Because we also have a capstone project, as you're aware. So in the capstone project, you will be actually working with users, building prototypes, building of personas and actually building some sort of product. So that will give you a good way of applying your skills, because we talked about right at the beginning that product management is more art and science. So you not only need to know the theory of it, you need to know how to apply to it. And this course gives you everything in that place, right? You don't have to go through multiple ways. So the structured course will give you a quicker ramp up and a quicker, dive from theory to application.
So that was truly insightful, Sumit. Thank you so much for sharing your practical guidance and perspectives with our audience. So, before we wrap up, I would like to ask you one last question. So, what one message or a piece of advice you want to leave for all aspiring product managers watching this video?
Yeah, so I would say is like, like you said, product management is about meeting business goals by delivering customer value, and the way you deliver customer value is through solving their problem. So fall in love with the problems that they are facing and the opportunities that you have. Don't fall in love with the solutions that you're building or the ideas that you have, because that can always change. Today the solution might seem the right way to build things, but tomorrow, due to some market disruption, there's a new competition wherein they have a different way to solving the problem. But the problem never goes away. The user needs always stays. So try and understand that more. So try and get an empathy or an understanding of what your core issue is for your customers. That is most important. So as an aspiring product manager, you need to dive into that more versus marrying how are we going to solve that problem, what is the feature we are going to build. So don't get lost in very flashy features, latest technologies when you're building a feature. The core thing is how do you meet the problem in an elegant way, because that is how you differentiate from your competition as well. And as long as whether you are a junior PM or a software professional or any other field, to even a seasoned product professional, as long as you're thinking about the why and you're thinking about the customer in each and every decision that you make, you'll be a good product manager.
So, thank you so much once again, Sumit, for joining and sharing your valuable insights. So,
Thank you,
to
Bhavani.
everyone watching this video, if you are curious about building a career into product management, this is the right time to take the first step. Check out Techcanvass product management course designed and mentored by the industry professional like Mr. Sumit Mukherjee to help you gain practical and job ready skills. So that's all for today's episode of FuturePath Global by Techcanvass. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversation with experts who can help you shape your future. Thank you so much. See you next time.